Well, I certainly appreciate that you do. We are doing a lot. We've certainly jammed a lot, and I would say that anyone who works at the St. John's Board of Trade would likely say yes. We've done 3 years of work in a past year and a half. The last year and a half, there's been no shortage of support to offer the business community. There's been no shortage of, I think, work to be done in the sense of helping businesses survive. We've been through a tough time, and we continue to persevere. So it's been an interesting time. I think COVID has thrown unique circumstances at the business community, but it's been an incredible privilege, if I'm honest, to be working at the St. John's Board of Trade, to take this role on at such a unique, I think, historic. We'll look back on this in a couple of years, and it will be a moment in time that we all remember kind of the world really did flip on its side. So it has been a privilege to take this role on in a unique time when I think our members were really looking at us for pure and authentic help, because I think we've been navigating circumstances. Certainly our members have had to deal with circumstances and situations that are new to everyone. So I think when I reflect on and look at, what my vision probably going into, what I thought we were going to do or what I thought I would do in that role, there really is no telling, or there's no predictability to what the last year and a half has been. So it's been a really interesting organization to enter at this unique time. We just celebrated 50 years of membership. So the St. John's
extraordinary.
Yeah, St. John's Board of Trade is 50 years old. We have members who have been with us for 50 years.
Wow.
So the history that is baked into, this organization is remarkable.
And it's evolved so much over the years. It's grown. I mean, how many members do you have now?
So we have, we're just on the cusp of 700 members right now.
And members really have a broad range, from the entrenched long-term companies like Pennycon to the smaller store-facing Water Street businesses to independent consultants like me. Like, it's really that whole scope.
It truly does run the gamut from diversity of size and scale, as you say, and industries and sectors. We have, and it's interesting because I think that provides an opportunity and a challenge for us at the St. John's Board of Trade, because we can be expected or needed to, kind of advocate for a specific need that might be not necessarily relevant to everyone.
Right.
And it really does depend kind of what sector you're in or the size of the business that you are for what benefit or what resource or need that you look to the St. John's Board of Trade to provide.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I know, it's hard to talk about business right now without talking about COVID. The pandemic has impacted everything. And so, through your kind of advocacy of supporting local and recognizing, how to support businesses, one of the things that you did that was really clever this year was kind of that DIEP campaign. We've all been there in that DIEP limbo, right? So tell us about that. How did that come about?
So, it's interesting. We all have been there. Everyone has checked their tracking of that package that they're waiting to arrive. It could be a birthday gift or the shirt you want to wear going out on the weekend or, whatever it is. We've checked that kind of transaction and just kind of waiting for something to leave DIEP. And so when we set out to create a Shop Local campaign, we really wanted to do something that would resonate with people. We wanted to change the conversation and not we really intentionally as well didn't want it to be serious.
Right.
We've been, this was a year and a half probably into COVID, or a year for sure. So from a tone perspective, we were like, this can't be serious. This can't be coming at people saying why you need to shop local or why you need to spend your money. So we really set out to do something that felt lighthearted and that people could, have a little joke and have a little chuckle with. And, we've worked with Target Marketing, who's a local firm here, and they came to us with this idea, and we were like, oh my God, it just hit home in a way that was so real for people. And we all were so confident that it would just change the platform for us to have a conversation about why it is really important that we spend our money at home. And I think during COVID, what happened, obviously for safety reasons and people just spending more time at home and not really venturing out when you didn't need to, we all knew that, statistics were already showing that the adoption of online shopping and the ease and convenience had already put all of us, in droves, kind of sending us online to purchase things. But COVID even, further expedited that. And COVID really did, for the safety reasons and such, really just drive even more people, or for more things, online was becoming the default. So we just, Don't Get DF'd for us has been an incredible, a really fun, platform for us to have a different conversation.
It resonated.
It truly did. And around the holiday season, when we created the carols and the carolers and the DF carolers, everyone was sitting at home waiting for a Christmas package to arrive. And I think, again, this year, as a result of COVID, the shipping problems were even a little bit more. So we'll be out again, 2022. We have some more Don't Get DF plans for making sure that that conversation continues, and we continue to change behavior. And people think about, we have incredible small businesses and retailers around this city, and many of whom are members of the St. John's Board of Trade. There are so many things that you probably think you need to go online to buy that you can buy in our community. Or even if you want to go online, that's one of the things that's been incredible throughout COVID, has been watching our members develop websites and use social media to engage with their customers and to move products and curbside pickup. There are so many conveniences and the things that our members have been doing to help consumers throughout, the last 2+ years now. It's incredible, and we need to support them.
Well, I know we had Kim from Wink on last year, and how she harnessed social media and Instagram and those platforms so early. And it seems to me that many of the businesses who were able to survive and or thrive were the ones who adopted those online platforms really early. So are they looking to you as the Board of Trade or were they at the time to kind of help them through some of that? Because I would think that a year ago, a year and a half ago, some of these things weren't kind of the way we did business here.
No, it truly wasn't. If you think back to March of 2020, you did rely on face-to-face. We didn't do as many things, nearly as many things, virtually is what we've come to be able to figure out and to build. It is remarkable when you think back in that kind of first lockdown that really pushed members and retailers to figure out. It was a survival mechanism.
Right.
You weren't going to survive COVID, and you weren't going to come out the other end with your customer base or as strong as you were kind of going in if you didn't figure out, how do I connect with my customers? How do I move product? How do I sell? While I'm not allowed to see people face to face. So we did a lot in the early days of COVID. We received some funding through a COA, and we launched a number of programs that were really aimed at providing assistance and resources for businesses to be able to build some of those virtual spaces so that they could continue. And it has been remarkable. We have, Kim is a great example. Her brand has flourished. And and you see her, I say to her all the time, I'm like, I just look at your Twitter now before I set my dining room table, so I know that I do it properly. Like, she just, she's used Facebook and Instagram to come into our homes and teach us things and show us what she has there, and it is remarkable to see the things that.
And and I find, I mean, we were never really takeout people.
Yeah.
And now we're starting to realize and recognize that we can have some of those, nicer, like, we're actually making more efforts to, eat out and, support, particularly the, the locally owned, restaurants, for example. We were at the Rock restaurant, last week, and, they're working so hard to find that balance. But one of the things, whether it's restaurant or retail, or whatever, there's been a real push and pull with workforce. And whether it's frontline services or knowledge industry workers, there's a real shift in the way people work, the way people want to work, people's availability, people's willingness to do certain jobs. So, I know you must spend a lot of time thinking and talking about workforce. So, what are your members saying?
So I think you've hit the nail on the head when you say balance, because I think, again, I keep saying COVID has done, but really it has.
Like, we wouldn't be having the same conversation 3 years ago. I mean, it's completely changed the business world.
Yeah, and it's true. So I think, in striking balance, and in, COVID has taught us that we need and we can work differently. So I think, again, if I think back to early days when all of a sudden everyone's employees were sent home, there were that was a steep learning curve in understanding, how do we work remotely? How do we get work done? How do we serve our clients? How do we make money when we don't have people in the building? We're so used to having people in the building. So I think that's one of the remarkable things. And watching large companies, certainly, who would be accustomed to having their people in front of them. Now they're all home working remotely, and we're doing the Teams thing and the Zoom thing. But I think we, the really insightful thing is that we've proven to ourselves what we can do, and we don't need to work in the really structured way that we once did. Now, that said, I think it's also really highlighted for us how much people like to be around people. And I think, once we got through the initial piece of figuring out, and a lot of businesses scrambled to ensure that people had the technology in their homes or the proper chair to sit in. So there was a lot of effort focused, certainly in the first few months and through the first lockdown, on figuring out that workforce. What are the bare bones tactical things that people need in order to successfully do their job outside of our building? So some of that, I think, has been remarkable, and I think there's a lot of conversations even at the chamber level throughout the country, in the sense, and a lot of our big multinational companies leading the charge, in that some of that is around to stay. Some of that will continue, and I think employees are probably a little empowered now as well, to have realistic expectations that I don't need to be in 5 days a week. I can be home to pick up my child after school, or I can work 4 days from the office, or some sort of hybrid. Hybrid seems to be the new term, the new pivot. Is this?
I try to avoid that word.
I just like we all have to. We all have to. But I think that hybrid workforce now. I think one of the other fascinating things that has come out of this is the frontline people, the people who cannot work from home, the people who serve our coffee in the morning, the people who ring in our groceries, the people who fill our medication. They don't have the option of working.
Well, the teachers now who have returned to
absolutely
to school,
and our incredible healthcare workers throughout our province who've kept us safe. So I mean, there are a lot of people who do not and cannot perform their job. So I think it still comes down to balance, and I think something that the St. John's Board of Trade has also said, for many months over the last little while, is just the need for balance, and also the need for kindness, because there are so many people in our province, regardless of what they're doing, but that they're not home on a laptop performing their job. and we've said this certainly a lot, the people who are serving us on the front lines, we need to be kind to them. They've taken such good care of us over the past 2 years. We owe a lot to them, all of them.
What are you hearing from business owners around the topic of mental health? I would think that whether it's for themselves, and their employees, people often think business, and it's transactional and it's about money, but it's, as much or more about people and teams. And, the conversation around mental health has been so significant this year. Is that something you're really hearing from your membership?
Yeah, I think it's something that everyone is thinking about, and it is a very real, and I think, maybe there was something to this and the crazy roller coaster life that was almost like an equilibrium in the sense of it just made us all realize the vulnerabilities that we all have, and that things that we live through, they significantly impact. They impact you, they impact what you can take, what you can handle, how you can output. And I just think, there's probably a lot of people who it has put mental health on the radar in a very real way, that employees and employers, to your point, we just need to be mindful of. And I think having the courage to have the conversation in a really frank, really open, real sort of way, that's what we all need in order for us to be productive, in order for us to do our jobs, in order for us to be happy. And a happy employee or a happy employer is the type of person you want to surround yourself with. It's the type of person you want to do business with and the type of person you want to perform well for. So I think it's a very real topic that we probably, COVID was allowed to expedite in terms of priorities, and I think it's around to stay.
I think so.
And even, sorry.
No, it's
No,
okay.
I was just going to say just how many people and employers now talk about, the EAP programs and things of that nature, and support and resources, and how important it is to be able to offer that to your employees now.
And so, I know I've often, kind of year to year, I always look forward to, the annual awards and, the celebratory nature of all that. And you kind of took a bit of a different approach to that this year. They say, innovation comes out of necessity, right? And so, you've seen some businesses really step up, do things in unique, special ways. So, let's talk about that. Some of those things to be celebrated within the business community.
Absolutely. So I think, again, COVID allowed us to celebrate business and the things that our members are doing in such a significant way. So the St. John's Board of Trade has a long history of having the Business Excellence Awards.
Yes.
And they're incredible celebrations of, the things that our members are doing throughout the province. But a lot of them are tied to sales and how well your year went.
Your growth.
Yeah.
Your revenue generation.
Exactly.
Right.
A lot of those things, which of course makes sense and is indicative of a successful business. But we, the team at the St. John's Board of Trade, as we reflect on what business has been like over the last little while, it didn't feel appropriate or fair or necessary to measure success in the same way. So that's, we just had a bit of a brainstorm around how do we mark success right now? What do we celebrate? And so that's where the Resilience Awards were born. And what we said is we are celebrating the grit and determination of what our businesses in our province are doing. And it's not by sales sheets or revenue in the door. It is about innovation. It's about how are you making a difference? How are you contributing to your community? What are you doing right now to grow differently? What are you doing to connect with new markets? So it just provided us an opportunity, and the stories we received.
So share some of those with us.
Oh my gosh, incredible stories of, we have Saltwater Designs, a small retailer, what would have been probably pre-COVID, you would describe as, a relatively small retail company, COVID has provided her with an opportunity. She has grown her team, her business. I think she's quadrupled. Over the period since COVID-19 hit, she has quadrupled her workforce alone. And you know, I don't think you can step outside or go to the mall or and not see a saltwater design hoodie or crew neck or something that is sporting some amazing saying that is so true to Newfoundland or true to the situation we're living. So she's been so innovative and incredible. It's funny, there's so many stories. I'm like pressed forward. Figs and Fromage is another amazing example of a member of ours. Who would have thought charcuterie boards would just fly off the
it's
shelf?
so funny. I mean, it used to be like that was kind of the plate of what was at the end of the week before mom went grocery shopping, you know?
Legit.
And now all of a sudden it's the thing to do.
It's like the delicacy to pair with your wine. And she, you know, they do those graze boxes that in any size you want.
And they're so beautiful and
they are, and again, you know, they're using Instagram and the photos. I've been home.
The photos. It's
absolutely.
that draws you in.
I've been home on a Saturday morning, right time, right place, scrolling through my phone. And where am I on Saturday afternoon? At Figs and Fromage. I'm like, yeah, it's a charcuterie board for supper.
Well, I've even heard kids asking for them.
Absolutely.
You know, my friend has 2 young boys, and they just love to get their little boxes. We did. And we actually had an event at Kitty Vitty Brewery back in the early summer. And that's what we served, you know, thinking of like COVID protocols, because I think we'll always, another company who was really.
Absolutely. And they have a wonderful collaboration. So Kitty Vitty now has Figs and Fromage graze boxes that they sell in there. It's perfect from a COVID perspective. The individual portions and everything is wrapped. So it's ideal. And that's one of the things, you know, that is remarkable that came out of COVID. And the thing that has been incredible, you know, and I think we at the Board of Trade, we have this wonderful vantage point because so many amazing businesses are our members. So we kind of see and are paying attention to them all, but the businesses that have come together to collaborate and support each other, it's not been this competitive, like, I need to survive you. There is so much collaboration happening and so many businesses looking for opportunities to pair up with another business, and they're just both looking at it as, let's double our chances to succeed.
Absolutely.
That is incredible.
And just, you know, the opportunity of network, you know, the opportunity to reach out to member services. You know, I know if there's something I need to know about, does somebody deliver that here? All I've got to do is pick up the phone and reach out to the Board of Trade. So, you know, thank you so much for all that you do and all that your team does. Again, I mean, it's just extraordinary, you know, how your organization has been able to, you know, really support and lift and, you know, hold strong for businesses, you know, with the St. John's Board of Trade. So thank you so much, AnnMarie, and it's just such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to have this chat.
You're welcome. We'll be back after these messages.
If you have a comment about this program, we'd love to hear it. Email or call us, or send us your feedback through social media.
It all started when I racked up some serious debt. Interest payments were going up, creditors were calling. Janes and Noseworthy came up with a plan. Knowing that the phone was going to stop ringing and that I was not in this alone was a huge relief. Bankruptcy or a consumer proposal or whatever help you get is not the end. It's just the beginning. A chance to start again with knowledge and support and people in your corner. Are you ready? Get out of debt. It's okay.
Learn more about Leah's story at janesnoseworthy.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
I I really enjoyed an opportunity of the St. John's Board of Trade. I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Join us next time on Out of the Fog.
If you have a comment about this program, we'd love to hear it. Email or call us, or send us your feedback